1 day later, we finally get a fucking apology out of him. Now, I've not listened to this apology yet, but I've heard that it is limp-wristed bullshit. Our Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, has royally fucking ballsed up our vaccine rollout. The federal government completely fucked it up. They've also fucked up putting any kind of proper federal quarantine facilities in place. Like, we're still using hotels to house international visitors for quarantine, which is fucking unforgivable because hotels, and a lot of it's outsourced, so people are like underworked people, underpaid, overworked people are making mistakes, and we keep getting all of these goddamn releases into the community, and they've completely and utterly fucked up the vaccine rollout. Actually, we aren't starting with that video. So there's been pressure from the Australian public and the Australian media for Scott Morrison to issue an apology. He did finally issue an apology 2 fucking days ago. I've heard it was pretty limp-wristed. I haven't actually watched it yet, but we're going to start with... so the day before that, he was on Melbourne radio, the Melbourne branch of KIIS, so KISS FM, and the one of the radio hosts there kind of grilled him pretty hard on trying to push for an apology. Yeah, fucking ScoMo, Scotty from marketing, Scummo, the Despoiler of Egadine Maccas, whatever you want to call him. So here's ScoMo getting grilled. Come on, load, you stupid.
And we move on. And you're right, there has been problems along the way. Can you honestly say to me that the government's taken accountability? Like, I've never heard the word sorry. Guys, you know what? Sorry. We did screw it up, but we're getting it right now.
Well, we've had problems and we've dealt with them, and that's what I do every single day. I mean, yes, the government is accountable for this, and I'm accountable for this. That's why we take the accountability by fixing the problems and getting it right.
Yep.
No country in the world has got every call right during this pandemic. But you know what? We saved 30,000 lives. We've got 1 million people back into work.
Yep.
And that is such a fucking ScoMo way of doing things. Shift, twist, shift blame, cast aspersions on other people and other groups. No, take fucking responsibility for your own goddamn fuck-ups. New chatters, I'm not usually this angry. It's just the situation has boiled me over into incandescent rage.
At the peak of what we were dealing with last year, we were supporting around about 3.5 million people with economic supports the country's never seen before. So we've got a lot of things right too.
And you fucking pulled it out. We're in the same situation right now as we were last year with, 40% of our population stuck in lockdown, and the government isn't giving us the financial support that they did last time.
No, you're right. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to have a go. I think it's just frustration. We're in lockdown.
Sure.
Can you just, you know what? Can you just say sorry, Jace? It'll make me feel so much better, and then I feel like I can move on.
He won't.
Well, what we're doing is fixing the problems and getting on with it. And that's what we have to do. We've had our problems. There's no doubt about that. And they're
You're doing a fucking shit job of fixing the problems.
Within our control. That's the nature of COVID-19.
Scott, I'd even take a my bad, Jace. Just my bad, Jace. We're moving on.
We're fixing the problems and getting on with it, guys. That's what people need. We need to put the economic support in place.
Allergic to taking responsibility,
right now,
this man.
This Friday, people in Melbourne will be able to get out.
So in 2019, when Australia was being racked with bushfires, the likes of which we've not seen since the 1960s, I think, instead of declaring a state of a national emergency and staying here to help coordinate relief efforts, he fucked off on holiday to Hawaii. And when people who were pissed off at him, his response to the media was, "I don't hold the hose, mate." Fucking allergic to responsibility, this daft shit cunt.
Get access to those payments at the end of this week, and that's really important that they get that. It was really important that the Premier and
Yeah,
I,
this is Jason,
it
PJ.
happened very quick last week, but we got on the phone to each other, made sure that the supports were going to be there, that Victorians right across the state would have access to that. The business supports, that's being done by the state government. This lockdown, I don't believe will be the same as last year's lockdown.
What about if another strain comes along? It just feels like it's just endless lockdowns. And I know there is a vaccine plan, but, you know, it just feels like every time a new strain comes, boom.
I got one for you. What does this spell? SORRY.
Jason.
Okay, sorry.
Well, PJ, I mean, you'd know across the ditch.
No, good on you, Jason.
You'd
Fucking
know across
hammer
the
him on
ditch
this.
That, you know, they're dealing with similar problems. I mean, New Zealand's vaccination rate on double doses is about the same as ours, but, you know, we're at 35% when it comes to first doses, and they're sitting, you know, in the 20s. So, and they, you know, in countries that have had low levels of COVID, right, like New Zealand, like Australia, also like places like South Korea and others.
Jesus fuck, Vetus. I forgot he withdrew, 60 million withdrawn from fire service funding, refusals to, like, update our fleet of firefighting aircraft, shit like that.
The rate of vaccination take-up has been a lot lower.
Yeah.
Countries that have had literally people dying every day. As I said, 94 people died in the United Kingdom yesterday. They have a
Something that I think we should absolutely be fucking doing to enhance our vaccination uptick rate is to give people who get vaccines just a straight up flat cash payment from the government. Australians fucking love free money. And there's precedent. We've done this kind of thing to get through crises before. So the global financial crisis, the Labor government at the time, got Australia through it with barely a hiccup. Like, we had the strongest economy in the world for a while, just by giving every Australian $900 sight unseen. Like, there is precedent for doing this kind of shit. And if you pay people to get vaccinated, our vaccination rates will go through the fucking roof.
Yeah.
Countries that have had literally people dying every day. As I said, 94 people died in the United Kingdom yesterday. They have a vaccination rate, double dose, of over 65%. In Singapore, they have higher vaccination rates.
We haven't had the supply to be able to get that many people vaccinated.
We're all really frustrated.
Yeah, that's what I guess what I'm saying is
now, if you
once
let me finish, please. If you let me finish. I know everyone's really frustrated, and I know...
He's such a schemy little bastard. Like, we've been having supply issues with our vaccines, and our fucking Prime Minister and Health Minister was so incompetent about this that one of our former Prime Ministers, Kevin Rudd, had to contact Pfizer as a private citizen and fucking organise for them to send us more vaccines. Ah.
No, it's really difficult. COVID has many uncertainties that are attached to it, and we just have to keep pushing through. Every other country in the world is facing the same challenges, and it'll continue to be challenged. And the only way we get through it is if we hang together and just keep pushing through.
Mate.
Governments at all levels are working together to support people, whether it's businesses, individuals, trying to protect people's health. People are out there today on testing clinics, working really hard. They're working
governments
to
are doing fuck
process
all.
people's payments, just
100%.
like they were last year.
Fuck all.
So we just need to continue to be patient, work together, stay positive, and we'll get through it.
We're going around in circles, but Scott, we are staying patient. We are working together. But like I said earlier, until there's accountability, it is hard to move on.
Well, I'm accountable for the vaccination program and everything that's happened in it.
Right.
And I'm also accountable for fixing it, and that's what we're doing.
Good. Well, hopefully everyone will get out there and actually get the jab and we can get back to life.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that was him refusing to apologise. Then we've got a couple of little vids. So first up, him saying he takes responsibility for the regrettable vaccine rollout delays, but this isn't his apology, but this is him ponying up and doing a little bit of responsible. Let's have a quick squiz here, just having a look through chat because it's moving quicker than I'm used to. Oh yeah, he also promised bushfire recovery support that never showed up for communities. Yeah, ALP tried to fund bushfire stuff in the last election, but they got fucked over by the Murdoch media. Yeah, Kinkas, we covered the vaccine marketing in a previous stream. Okay, so Vetus, apparently Pfizer debunked Kevin Rudd going to them. I know that something happened there, but I'll have more of a look into that later. Minister Hunt, the sea is silent, doesn't even believe in science, so of course it's a debacle. Yeah, that's the other thing. Our Prime Minister and a number of our cabinet are fucking science-denying evangelical... what's the cult called? It's not Presbyterians, it's... Hillsong's a part of it. But yeah, they're part of that mob, so they believe, prosperity gospel fuckwits who think that, if you're rich, it's because God wants you to be rich, and if you're poor, it's because you're not godly enough. And they actually believe in a literal biblical apocalypse, and they want this shit to happen. So, Vetus, I've seen something about that. I've also seen something from the Pfizer CEO, I think, saying that he spoke with Kevin Rudd because Kevin Rudd's active in the United Nations and is the head of like a large international NGO at the moment, so he didn't really think anything of it. I think it may have just been that like Rudd kind of poked them to say, hey, can you talk to the government kind of thing. But I'll look more into that later. Okay.
Why is it that you so firmly believe the government doesn't need to say sorry about anything in relation to the failings of the vaccine rollout?
I think Australians just want us to get it right, Mark. And no country's got their pandemic response 100%. And I think Australians understand that. And
we want you to get it right, and we want you to fucking oh, geez, sorry, I'm just so... We want you to get it right, and we want you to own up to your mistakes and fucking apologise.
And Australia, despite saving more than 30,000 lives and getting 1 million people back into work and providing economic support at its peak...
Manifest.
Thank you very much for the follow. I am not an apple. That's the kind of thing an apple would say.
3.5 million people, and what we've been able to achieve together, I think Australians accept that. I know Australians would like the vaccination program to be further advanced than it is now, but I can tell you, based on the plan that was agreed and adopted by both my cabinet and endorsed by the National Cabinet last year, we're about 2 months behind where that otherwise will be.
To my knowledge, they're a fair bit worse off than 2 months behind. Like, the plan has been revised a number of times, and there hasn't been a single point where our government has come even close to hitting the vaccine rollout targets.
And it may even be less than that by the time we get to the end of this year. And so those delays are regrettable. We all know they're a result of many factors. Sure, there's going to be plenty of critics in hindsight. They'll have various motivations for doing it. But what Australians, I think, want from me is to make sure we...
There are various motivations for the critiques. Fucking throwing shade right there, saying, oh, this is just political assassination, but without coming... Or media political assassination, but without coming out and stating it. He's such a fucking worm of a man.
We make up that ground. We hit these marks that we're hitting, and we are hitting those marks, and they want me to... I take responsibility for the problems we've had, but I'm also taking responsibility for the solutions we're putting in place and the vaccination rates that we're now achieving.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's him refusing to apologise. Then 1 day later, we finally get a fucking apology out of him. Now, I've not listened to this apology yet, but I've heard that it is limp-wristed bullshit.
Continue to go from strength, and so we continue to go from strength to strength. Now, as I said yesterday, I take responsibility for the vaccination program. I also take responsibility for the challenges we've had. Obviously, some things within our control, some things that are not. And I'm keen to ensure, as we have been over these many months, that we've been turning this around. I'm certainly sorry that we haven't been able to achieve the marks that we had hoped for at the beginning of this year. Of course I am. But what's more important is that we're totally focused on ensuring that we've been turning this around. And if I give you some statistics, just to give you an idea of how much things have been turned around in just the last month. If you go back to the 21st of June until now, we have seen...
Mate, if you're issuing an apology, that's not the time when you should be tooting your own horn. Yeah, Vedas, he is a PR man, but he is also a shitty PR man that got fired from directing 2 national-level PR agencies.
The double-dose vaccination rates almost triple in the last month. We've gone from just over 5% to 15% double dose today. We now have 36% of those over 15 years old who have received a first dose.
You said you take responsibility for the vaccine rollout, that you're sorry for the way, I guess, that you haven't reached the mark that you originally hoped for.
Yes.
You were asked a number of times to say sorry yesterday. Why couldn't you say that then? And can you understand your reluctance in saying that? Why people might think that perhaps you aren't taking accountability?
I think I've been very clear that as...
Yeah, you've been very clear that you're an absolute fucking shit cunt, and international viewers, a shit cunt is just an asshole. Cunts are wonderful, beautiful, fantastic things. They're soft, warm bringers of joy and pleasure and life. A shit cunt is just an asshole. Like, my mates are cunts. My mates are wonderful cunts.
Prime Minister, I'm responsible for the vaccination program. And I've also been very clear that that responsibility means fixing and dealing with the problems that we've had. And that's...
No, you haven't been clear. People just want you to fucking apologise and get it right.
what we've been doing. And the vaccination program has
fucking it up.
turned the corner. The numbers that I've relayed to you, I think, are the proof points of that. It demonstrates that. So I take responsibility for the things that haven't gone as well as we'd liked, and I take responsibility for the things that have worked as well. And no country gets everything.
Cool, so he'll only take responsibility once the numbers start looking better, so he can spin it towards his favour.
Right? No Prime Minister gets everything right as well. And so my job is to keep getting on with the job.
Yeah, you're right there, Kinkas. Until we hit like 80% vaccination rates, it's not enough. It's fucking not enough. So yeah, in short, fuck ScoMo. He's a wheeling, equivocating little shitbag. I cannot believe this shit. I cannot fucking believe it. Daidachi is pathologically terrified that if he says sorry, it'll be spun into an attack ad because he thinks like a marketer. Yeah, no, that's probably right. It's all an optics game, really. It's all a fucking optics game for him. It's all about how does this make me look? How does yada, yada, yada. But this is the man who is so devoid of empathy that in order for him to, like, denounce the absolute, like, endemic culture of sexual assault in the Liberal Party, his own wife had to go to him and say, what if it was one of our daughters? And that's the thing that pushed him over the line and went, oh yeah, maybe this is something I should take seriously. Fucking wrong.